Special Agent Joseph Ziegler and his former investigation supervisor, Gary Shapley, say their findings supported felony charges against Hunter Biden rather than the misdemeanor charges he's set to plead guilty to next week. CBN national security correspondent Caitlin Burke has been tracking today's hearing. Caitlin, how did lawmakers respond to the allegations from the whistleblowers?
John, Democrats largely dismissed the two IRS agents' claims. Ranking member Jamie Raskin calling the fact that Congress is even looking into Hunter Biden's case an example of interference.
The ongoing case that the majority invites us to interfere with today is actually a striking illustration of the success of the American system of independent prosecutors operating under the rule of law and outside the realm of the kind of political influence my colleagues are trying to exercise today.
Raskin went on to say that the president's son made mistakes and is now prepared to be held accountable for them. Republicans, meanwhile, said Hunter Biden was given preferential treatment and questioned whether the president himself would have been implicated had investigators not been held up in their work by administration officials.
The Department of Justice engaged in a campaign to delay, divulge, and deny that investigation. They delayed investigators for years, leading to the expiration of the statute of limitations for many of the crimes involved. And they denied investigators the ability to authenticate evidence, serve warrants, question witnesses, and bring charges.
The two witnesses say they came forward because after more than a decade of experience, they've never seen an investigation be so held up or roadblocked.
Assigned prosecutors did not appear to follow the normal investigative process, slow-walked the investigation, and put in place unnecessary approvals and roadblocks from effectively and efficiently investigating the case. A number of times we were not able to follow the facts.
At every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of this investigation. For example, prosecutors concealed contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from investigators. DOJ slow-walked steps to include interviews, serving document requests, and executing search warrants. Warrants that were ready as early as April of 2020, but were delayed until after the November 2020 election and never pursued.
The whistleblowers said it's up to Congress to ultimately decide who's responsible for the failure to bring the full extent of charges against Hunter Biden, and stressed that a special counsel should have been and still needs to be appointed for this case. John?
All right, CBN's Caitlin Burke. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Well, Mark Clausen is a professor of history and law at Cedarville University. Mark, welcome to you. Let's pick up where Caitlin left off. How big of a bombshell is it that multiple whistleblowers testified that there was political interference in the Hunter Biden investigation?
Well, I think it's a pretty big public bombshell now, although most observers expected this very thing. They already had an idea that this is what they would say, and they even knew many of the facts that they recounted. But now it's all out in the open before Congress under oath, and so that's a fairly big deal at this point. And there's no real incentive for the whistleblowers to lie about this, to obfuscate. Their careers are really at issue here, so in jeopardy potentially. So it seems like this is a pretty big deal.
Well, along those lines, the identity of one IRS agent referred to as Whistleblower X was revealed for the first time today. How significant is that, and could he potentially face retaliatory measures within the agency?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. It's significant because he's now corroborating what happened. It's important to get independent corroboration of the particulars of this ongoing situation. Could he face retaliation? Legally, he should be immune from that kind of thing. But we've known instances in the recent past in which the various agencies involved can sort of bring to bear subtle pressure. They can do lots of things that are very subtle, such as they could move you to a new office. I mean, maybe not literally, but in a basement somewhere, in a closet. They could take away all your job responsibilities. So there are things that they could do and still not be accused of retaliating. And that's the dangerous part of it for the agent potentially. besides all the other things that could happen.
Well, if the allegations of weaponization within the government are true, what do you suggest can be done to change that?
Well, the first thing they want to do, the Congress wants to do, is get as many facts as they can, as many witnesses as they can, as many whistleblowers as they can possibly entice to testify, and then they need to make a clear and forceful recommendation both to the IRS and to the Justice Department to follow up on this, to appoint a special counsel or to bring charges directly, but usually you go through a general counsel first, who would then spend some time investigating this whole matter and then give his recommendation. And he needs to be an independent-minded special counsel, as independent-minded as you can find out there today. And then after that investigation, they could then recommend to the Justice Department to bring charges. Now, the problem you still have, and this is what the sticky point is.
Mark, I'm so sorry. I hate to cut you off. We are out of time. Mark Clausen with Cedarville University, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.